All right. Well, we're live here, and it's December 23rd. We're waiting on Mike. He's going to be on any minute. I know we're not doing this as much, but when we do, it's a quick little rundown, and we've been talking about all the moving stocks lately. It's been quite the incredible run, to be honest. And I mean, Dad, let's just start off with, it's kind of a weird week. And not only just a weird week, but a weird time of year because it's the end of the year. You have Christmas, you have New Year's. Everybody talks like the senior traders hand it over to their amateurs. But is that really what's going on here, especially with most people working from home anyway?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's less so this year than most years because of COVID. So maybe you're getting more reality in this last week than normal. Not that any of this market is reality, but we'll take it as long as they keep giving it to us. It feels like they just want to take stocks higher for the most part.
Yeah, and they did the agreement with Brexit that basically got announced today. I don't think it's like completely finalized. And then obviously, since our last hangout, we have the $900 billion stimulus relief bill that they're basically passing. Trump wants more money. Who knows if it'll happen? But either way, they're about to pass this bill. And I mean, it really seems like, though, as far as what everyone was predicting for a Santa Claus rally, it's almost been an electric vehicle rally. I mean, if you take out those companies really in the last week, it seems like the market hasn't really done much. Obviously, Apple's been big. They came out, they announced that they were going to do the electric vehicle, not for like 4 years. I know we were talking off of this and you made a good point, and that's that, how is it really going to affect any stock right now when Apple announces for 2024? It's so far out. What kind of a immediate impact is that going to have? Nice shave, Mike. Looking fresh.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So,
yeah, to answer that, I also think that, you got that bonus off of, what they said about the banks doing buybacks. And that just gave an amazing lift to the financial sector. And, a lot of these stocks are near their 52-week highs now, if not over it, like Goldman Sachs.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And it kind of has that feeling. I mean, I know what I've been thinking to myself is if it wasn't the end of the year and there weren't tax ramifications, I'd be selling stocks left and right now. And I know we've been selling call options as a way to kind of hedge ourselves, but I just wonder how much of that is playing into the fact that these stocks just keep bidding up no matter what. And I wonder if everyone's going to be racing for the exit doors as soon as the year rolls around.
But within this market, there's been a lot of corrections. Like I was looking at Moderna's chart earlier. That stock's off from 170 and change to the 120s. So that's an interesting situation. And even the Fords and the GEs, which we've talked about, they're well off their highs, and they've taken a lot of the froth out of those kind of names. So I think there's still room when you go back to those type of names.
Yeah, Amazon, Baba, Facebook have done nothing recently. Like when you look at a lot of the big names, we're talking about Apple and Microsoft. There hasn't been a lot of momentum with them. When you think of the behemoths. So,
yeah. And Apple and Microsoft are just below their all-time highs.
Just them, though. That's not, you can't say the same for Facebook and Amazon. Baba's done nothing for months. So, I don't really think this is, I think it's been a healthy market, if anything.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much speculation in the new names and the EV sector. I think that's what makes us think that the market's getting real toppy. I mean, look at all these.
Yeah, just to name a few of the names that we've been really trading and talking about since we haven't been doing the show as much, but just off of this show, Laser, which is just so wild, LAZER. The stock obviously had a really hot
Well, it's actually not laser, Dan. It's LAZR is the symbol.
LAZR, the company's Luminar technology.
Right.
One of these plays on autonomous vehicles with the laser technology, basically, and it's kind of a way to compete with Tesla, even though they're not actually doing the cars. But this stock has been so crazy because it had one of the wildest IPOs. It went in a straight line up and then came all the way back down. And what was it up yesterday? Like the last few days, it's been up like 50% again.
Well,
and
it got down to 22 and change.
And this morning, it gets a downgrade and goes all the way down to 33. And now it's all the way back up to 36. It's crazy. And, you could say the same thing about that QuantumScape company, which is another one of these battery companies. They're actually down a ton right now, 12%. But anytime these companies are down, it's been just immediate buying opportunity, and they've just been going crazy.
I mean, down a ton after being up a shit ton. So it's not, when you see these stocks that go down, it's like that Fubo company I was telling you about, that I'm starting to look at. I heard Mark Roberts bring them up in that show this morning. Dan, I was telling Dad about this company a couple of weeks ago. I think they're going to be a beast in 2021, and they're down huge today off of just being up a ton lately. These stocks can't go up 40% every day and not expect a big pullback.
Yeah, and especially this week where it is thinner than normal. And it doesn't take much to move a stock down or up 10%.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then obviously, GameStop. I mean, Mike, you've been basically dead on with the story of GameStop and what they're doing. I feel
I didn't hit it correctly timing-wise, unfortunately. So me being dead on didn't help my bank account with that stock.
Well, yeah, either way, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, the news is that Ryan Cohen, who's the Chewy founder, increased his stake over the last couple of weeks up to 13%. And if you kind of look behind the scenes, it sounds like what they're trying to do is basically make a complete switch over to being more like a cloud company that changes the way people even look at gaming entirely. So I don't know.
They're going to be a major winner. That was so obvious. Ryan Cohen is a genius. He wouldn't be dumping a bunch of his net worth into a failing company unless he was able to right the ship going in. And naturally, that's what's happening. Now he has way more control over even the board with this recent purchase. He had supposedly a behind closed doors meeting when he just bought more of the company, and it's his show now, is the reality. So
people
if he make Chewy work, this is not as hard of a task for him. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, well, people have been buying up call options in GameStop the last week like crazy. I actually signed up for this service called Cheddar Flow. It's pretty cool. It shows you unusual call option or put option buying in real time. And I was telling Dad, I'm still kind of figuring out how to utilize it. Mike, I'll obviously share with you when I do, but it's just cool to kind of monitor this and see some of the action that takes place. And, normally when you see the unusual call options being bought, the stock pops. It's just whether it's 24 hours later, a couple hours later, you see scenarios where there's unusual call option buying, and then the CEO of the company's on CNBC 2 hours later, things like that. So there's just a lot of different companies. Like while we're talking, there's unusual call options being bought in Uber at the 60s for February.
We're both long Uber. I mean, I think Uber, my whole cases with thesis on them is they're more valuable than DoorDash, and the street will start acting like that soon. I don't really get where that's trading right now in comparison. It's a joke when you look at their actual value as a company and what they do. So I see DoorDash with where they're trading, and I'm like, I don't understand. They're not a rideshare like Uber is. So that's where I think Uber is undervalued combined with DoorDash being overvalued.
Sounds like a good trade. Buy Uber, sell DoorDash.
I'm already long a bunch of Uber. So
Yeah. And then Dad, I know you brought SSPK to our attention, which is Weedmaps SPAC. And, you can kind of almost get a handle on how popular a stock is in terms of the retail gang, when you go on Twitter and type in the $ and type in the stock, and it kind of can give you a handle on how much the word is out already. And this stock, no one's talking about it yet. And it's starting to pick up a little bit. And obviously the volume's still light and it's slowly starting to tick up. But I kind of really, really love this stock. It's like a huge gainer from here. Weedmaps does over 100 million a year in revenues. This company's valued at only like 300 million market cap. Feel like it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking this might be the next Vuzi. We'll have to see.
Seriously, yeah, Vuzi. You were talking about that stock when it was in the threes, and now it's consolidating a little today. But what did it hit? Over 11?
It hit 11, I think, today at one point.
Stock went up basically 100% in a month.
Another one I like that I told you guys about last night is the Peter Thiel, Richard Lee SPAC, the BTWNU. It's Bridgetown Holdings. I actually bought some this morning. It's having another nice day. B-Town, like B-Town Menus, BTWNU. And when you look at what's going on behind closed doors, Richard Lee is a Hong Kong tycoon. His connections in Asia are vast. The world, as we know, is top heavy with the way politics work. Peter Thiel and him combined, you already are seeing Tokopedia is the largest e-commerce company in Indonesia, and it's supposedly they are the leading horse to close that deal. So that, I think this is just a sign of many positive catalysts.
What does this company do?
It's a SPAC.
Yeah, but what is the business? Or we don't even know it yet.
No. Their whole game is basically they have a ton of exposure to Asia. They're helping with M&A deals across the Pacific. And when you look at Richard Lee's background, he's heavily funded. The guy's a billionaire, just like Thiel. And I don't think when you combine those two forces, I'm betting on jockeys. I'm a big believer in, okay, who's behind these companies? That's why you get into them to begin with, mostly.
That's the company they're taking public, Taboola.
Taboola?
Yeah, which is, I think Corey's got a good buddy that works for Taboola.
Taboola is the retargeting company out of Israel. It's massive. So
that's what they're doing with the money?
Yeah.
Well, they also have Tokopedia supposedly is going to be utilizing them. They're at least in the lead right now for that to close. So
yeah, I can see Taboola being a public company doing very well, no doubt.
Either way, you can't bet against those guys. Like, this is Peter Thiel and Richard Lee. What are they going to both lose here combined? They've been winners solo. I look at that and I'm like, what's the actual downside here?
Speaking of Peter Thiel, Palantir's been having a great week. That stock's
finally
right now above 29.
Yeah, I'm finally back in the green on that.
This has been an unbelievable stock. I don't even know what to make of it. It's funny.
It hasn't been unbelievable the last few weeks. It's done nothing.
Well, I mean, it's gone up over 100% in the last few months. It's just
this needs to double from here for me to be pumped.
Guy Adami was on CNBC yesterday talking about it, and he was like, I guarantee you 80% of the shareholders have no clue what this company even does. And I think he's
going to say that about all the companies now.
But yeah, Fisker, I'm really pumped about. I'm long Fisker a good amount, and this stock is kind of exploding today. And I'm really hoping it could make another push this afternoon and like really explode today. It's kind of just been quiet ever since not quiet. It had a crazy explosion out of nowhere today. I think there's a lot of excitement going on in the electric vehicle space. I don't really know what else to say about it. People are pumped up about Fisker. There's actually Fisker cars. This is not like Nikola at all.
Yeah.
Like people, they're in California. People are driving these things. It's just, I don't think you can actually order one yet. I think they're still very pre-market.
I think you got to go back to the banks, guys. I know we talk about them a lot. These things are going to get a ton of money thrown at them just because people are underweight still. And buybacks are going to help. Bank America is the one I bought a little bit yesterday. I'm probably going to add to that one again.
And what are your thoughts then on Goldman Sachs? I know like this morning it keeps going up. So like right at the open,
You gotta love Goldman. It's probably going to 300. I don't like it as much at this particular spot after such a big move, but I don't think you can go wrong with too many of these right now. Goldman, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, Citibank, or Bank America.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the option buying today has been all about the banks, and all the ones that you're talking about are the ones that I've been seeing prints for on this cheddar flow service. I told you right at the open, and I'm wondering if this is sort of a strategy you could play on, at least for a way to keep an eye on stocks that could be big movers if you're day trading. But right at the open, there were like millions of dollars of premiums and Goldman Sachs options bought within 5 minutes of the market being open. And if you looked at the stock at the time that those options were being bought, it was up like 0.8%. And you look at it now and it's up 3.5%. It's just kind of continued to inch higher all day. So I'm realizing that if you either bought the stock right after they bought those options once it came down a little, or just got in on those options too, it could have been a monster play.
Yeah, and if you think the rates are going to work their way up to 1 to 1.5% by the middle of next year into the end of the year, the banks are a much better play than the techs that have got these huge PE ratios, because that's what they sell when rates start moving higher.
Why would the rates move higher? Haven't they made it clear that they're not going to do that?
Because they're not controlling the 10-year and the long bond. They're controlling the shorter term bonds. So the market will determine where the 10-year and the 30-year go. And if growth is coming back as COVID ends, it's almost inevitable that the rates are going to move higher. And it will happen. It's just a matter of how quickly.
Well, I'm in Bank of America, so let's see that thing go to the moon.
Yeah, but it's a good way to play rates moving higher, and it's a good way to play the buybacks and the idea that institutions are light in the financials and they're going to want to show that they've got it on the books in the first quarter. So there's a lot of tailwinds right now.
So do you kind of see that as the trade of the first quarter of the new year? Like as soon as we get into January?
I think it's one of them, yeah.
So yeah, I'm almost wondering if tech is going to sell off, and
it may not be the old names. Like I don't think Apple and Microsoft will necessarily be in that sell-off group, but the high-flying ones that we all know about and have watched go up 300%, 400%, 500% will definitely be in that group.
Interesting. So like the CrowdStrikes and Fastly's of the world might no longer be going up 3 to 4% every single day.
Yeah, I
think CrowdStrike's actually a great play for 2021. I wouldn't put them in that category.
Well, it'll be those type of names though, whether it's that particular one or not. I think higher rates will mean techs are going to have a harder time.
Depending on the tech, because you have to keep in mind some of these are going into their peaks of their models working because of what just happened with the pandemic. So you're seeing expedited models from 5 to 6 years with a lot of these companies.
Interesting.
Like when we talked yesterday, Dan, about Okta and Zscaler, those are a couple other candidates that you have to look at as, sure, they've made great runs, but that doesn't mean they're anywhere close to stopping. They're going to be winners ongoing here.
Yeah. I mean, another stock that I think is going to be, I don't really know the level to get in. I'm wondering if you can get it all the way down to like 15, but Open Door Technologies, which is recently a new public company. And the chart, they're SPAC. So the chart, they didn't actually go public when this chart shows it. I think they went public like a week ago at around 26-ish. But, they're in the digital real estate play, kind of like Zillow.
I think they've been public for a few months.
I thought that they switched over to being an IP, because I remember Chamath, like the owner of the Warriors, Chamath Papaya or whatever his name is, announced on Twitter, because he was the one taking it public, the date he was taking it public, and I think it was like a week ago.
End of August, they went public.
Open door?
Yeah.
What was he talking about then?
They've been public since the last week in August. I mean, the chart's looking interesting. I'd be careful. This thing could fall though a lot here short term.
So you're telling me the stock went public at 10 a share, basically?
Yep. 10.55.
Well, in that case, it's had a hell of a run up, that's for sure. Yeah,
this is also a candidate. If they play their cards right, Zillow or Redfin should be rolling them up.
On December 17th, the ticker changed over to open. On December 18th, and
the ticker might have changed, but they went public in the summer.
Yeah, but December 18th is when they got approval for open and became open door, and that's when they kind of popped up to these levels. But that's just another stock I've been watching. I'm not in it yet. And then, I don't think – I feel like everyone's ruling out SPACs in general, and I feel like some of them are really, really legit. And
like anything, you'll have a few huge home runs and a bunch of duds. I mean, there's definitely a lot of SPACs that are going to be just hot air that turn into bankruptcy.
100%.
So you have to – again, it's about finding out who's behind these companies and making sure they actually are vested appropriately. Just because a name is attached doesn't always mean, oh, this guy has a lot of money in it. So that's something for our viewers to keep in mind. Like even the one I brought up with Peter Thiel and Richard Lee, B-Town U, look into exactly what kind of skin these guys have in these games, because it's easy to attach your name to an advisory board and have nothing involved in it. So that's, there's no doubt though. And I brought up to you guys last night, I'm starting to look into the gene editing sector. I think you're going to start seeing, it's obviously very premature still, but there's a few companies that are already neck deep in that when we talk about birth defects and being able to modify off base editing technology, which is a thing. This company, Beam Therapeutics, BEAM, like a laser beam, is one of them. And another is Edit, EDIT. And a company that's been around for a long time is CRISPR. That I know when I brought them up to you, that's not a new company by any means. Yeah. These are all acting very well right now, but we talk about being ahead of narratives on where the world's going. I'm big on healthcare and mental health. So this is the physical health aspect. It's like, okay, you have parents to be for the first time. They want to make sure their kids are going to be healthy. The future, and it's coming before we know it, is gene editing, where you're not going to have defects at birth, and you'll be able to prevent, anything from mental challenges with, chromosomes being chipped. The list goes on.
A lot of that is also in gene editing once a person develops a disease too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is going to be the future of longevity, guys. When you think about what's going to help lead to humans living longer, this type of technology, base editing technology. And you'll see this being
run.
What's up?
Edit. This thing has tripled in like the last month.
Yep. So yeah, it's going to be a short-term volatile. I'm sure these things will come back down, but they're not being talked about yet. They're going to be a lot.
Well, I think they are, Mike, because they've already moved 300%.
Well, they've moved, but in saying this whole sector is going to be a winner is what I'm getting at. You're not going to have those three names I brought up are all huge winners, and they're going to be for a long time.
Dan, what are your thoughts on DraftKings heading into the new year? I know they've, gone on a wild ride, but it seems like they're kind of getting a lot of support at the levels they're at here. And today they're getting a nice bid on their way to 55.
I like that it spent a lot of time kind of backing and filling. I mean, I feel a lot more comfortable about DraftKings at 54 now than the last time it was at 54, a couple of months ago.
Doesn't it kind of look like on the chart this thing could make a run up into the 70s?
Well, it could definitely test the old highs. It would not be
I have
surprised.
that 54 call expiring tomorrow. I made a nice buck on that.
That you sold?
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome.
Good
Yeah,
one.
so you'll probably be out of the stock tomorrow if.
No, I won't. I'm up huge on it. What are you talking about?
Oh, you're long the calls?
Yeah, I'm long the stock, and I sold $54 calls at $3.60.
Yeah, so you're going to lose the stock tomorrow if they expire tomorrow.
Or I could just cash out of it for a profit now of $1,200.
Well, either way, you're going to cash out at a big profit if it closes above.
I'm gonna just close out of the option then. I don't want to lose the stock.
Mike, you sold the call option, so the option you're down money on because you're up on the stock and you could sell.
No, I'm up money on it. I sold that. This thing is up 78%.
Well, wait a minute. You sold the option, right?
Sold 4 call options for December 24th, $54 calls at $3.60 I paid.
Okay, and where are they trading?
80 cents, 75 cents.
Hey, you got paid that, and now they're trading at 80 cents, so you could buy them back for.
I'm up $1,132 on it on the trade.
Yeah,
and I'm up a ton on the stock.
Right, but if you do nothing, you're going to lose the stock tomorrow at 50.
That's what I'm saying. I'm going to buy out of this today.
Oh, okay.
I'm up $1,100. So why would I do nothing and lose the stock if I think it's going up more?
Well, no, you should buy back the options then. You're right. We're in agreement on that. The quiet one today is Compass, by the way.
You know, someone texted. Yeah, not that quiet. It's steadily marching higher. There's no doubt about it. It's sold off here in the last few minutes.
Boom. DraftKings closed out. There we go.
Nice.
All right, now you want it to go up.
It will go up. I'm probably going to buy more.
Yeah, well, now the move is to sell that call option again, like 2 weeks.
Sell the January 58s or something.
I just could see DraftKings with where we're heading with gambling. I'm so bullish on that space, just knowing where peer-to-peer is heading. It's so obvious.
The reason I've been hesitant to sell options against my DraftKings position is when you look at how much people are paying for them in like the 60s, the 70s, it makes me think the stock's going way higher. And I kind of want to, like, if anything, I want to buy options because I feel like this stock's about to just explode. I don't know. I also feel like Fisker's about to explode.
Yeah, these stocks are all going ballistic, so it's hard to get negative when they look so good, right?
Yeah. But yeah, Mike, that move with DraftKings is perfect because you take a nice loss on the call option against taxes. So now
I didn't mean a loss.
You made money on the options.
I made money on it.
So much time has gone by that even though the stock is up, the option's down.
That's unbelievable. So since it was the last day, you're just double whammy on both of them.
I'm dominating.
Right.
Exactly.
If you sell the options a few weeks ago when the stock was, had time to gain the moment.
Exactly.
That's the whole beauty of options.
When you could hit it's like hitting a teaser in the middle where you hit both ends.
Though that it's up when the stock's 50 cents higher than where it needs to be.
Because of the timing of it. When I did the trade, when Dad recommended it in Arizona, where I was trading.
For sure.
That's why also, on days like we've talked about in the money puts, the best value on that are when shit's hitting the fan in the market.
Absolutely.
To pull the trigger on something like that for the premium.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, when these stocks start moving, selling.
MMEDF is interesting. Dan, I know we're heavy in that. That thing is back over $3. I'm waiting to see if this is going to break out over 310 or come back down. I have another buy order, and if it dips below 270.
Listen, I'm waiting for this thing to get to $20 and
$20, maybe in 2023.
Yeah, but I like that those stocks are going up when there's not a lot of volume. It shows you that there's no real selling at these levels.
Well, and that was expected end of the year with volatility with the shroom stocks. When you look at penny stocks with volume, that's expected. That's why yesterday was a good buying opportunity. I think buy the dips if they're severe. Yesterday, some of these were down a ton. And I'm not getting crazy on adding to my positions, but a couple hundred shares here and there on down days of 30, 40%. If you think the company's real, then great. Just make sure you avoid the duds, which is easier said than done in penny stocks. Like I was telling Dan, Dad, this SHRMF stock, I'm thinking about dumping. I don't think they're legit.
I don't like the symbol.
Me neither. I don't like the symbol, and it kind of reminds me of like Mein Kampf from Germany. The whole thing just doesn't sit well with me.
Schrumpf. It's not a very good symbol.
If it was Trump, that would be a different story.
Trump would be better, like Triumph. Call the company and tell them to change their symbol.
Bob, you got a trade for the last hour here?
For the last hour, huh? Yeah, that's a tough one.
I scooped some McDonald's yesterday.
Nice.
Traded me well as a swing trade over the last couple of years.
I'm wondering if on a day like today, I should sell call options for DraftKings for like January 8th.
Well,
I like where your head's at, Dan. I might look at those.
Where you're going to get a lot of premium.
Anytime a stock's up like this, it's hard not to look at that because people are getting overzealous.
Yeah, the 55s are paying $285, which is pretty solid, not crazy, but I mean it is pretty crazy when you think about it. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean you have to think of it like, are you happy selling the stock at 58?
No.
In a week from now, at least like a little bit. But Mike, like based on what just happened to you, you could easily just hopefully if the stock isn't too much higher than 55, I guess that's the risk. If today DraftKings was at 58, where would Mike's call option be?
Well, yeah, they'd obviously be up, but you'd still be happy.
Because you get out of the stock.
Well, right? You just have more returns on your actual holdings at that point, right? When you think about it.
Well, look, I mean, the whole concept of selling the call options is to give you protection. And if the stock goes up to the level where your options expire by the date, those options aren't worth anything, which is why you were able to make money.
Yeah.
Covering your options today, Mike.
Yeah, and I'm with you, Dan. I think this thing's acting like it's going to go way higher. That's why I'm hesitant even for like January 8th. I could see this thing being at $60 in the new year.
I know.
I don't like something tells me this thing. I love where the model of
the way to play that then is to buy more stock and sell the options with the extra stock that you bought.
Exactly.
Yeah, and just have them because that's where it's like if you have a decent amount of stock, you just do some at the 55, some at the 58s, and kind of just sell them along the way with doing covered calls and just keep moving up.
Yeah, I mean, I heard Jason Robbins on that podcast, the CEO of DraftKings, that Barron's podcast I sent you, Dan. And when he started going over the video game gambling that's in the pipeline here that nobody is really talking about on that scale, that is just when you think of the opportunities there as for that company's revenue growth, when you have them opening up the floodgates on legal gambling on video games state by state. I mean, come on. That's just the writing is on the wall.
Well, what I would like to know with that concept, are you capturing new gamblers by doing that?
100%, Dad.
Are these people going to bet on video games?
What you're going to have is people that don't like sports that love video games that are with their friends. You always have those friends that are big gamers that don't like sports. We've all had them over the years. You're going to have them introduced to their ecosystem on a whole other level.
The whole esports leagues are starting to blow up. Like that's a big thing that
you're going to be able to bet on these big players. Think about a Twitch player, an EA, a guy getting a scholarship for college for
100%. That's also why I love.
You guys are right on the money with that. I think that's where DraftKings has an advantage over a Penn.
And that's just the beginning. You guys know my thought with gamifying house parties. Like the whole notion of anyone being able to gamble with each other is coming.
Well, let me just say
on video games when we were in high school.
DraftKings is the first in the space, but Dad, Penn has the personality advantage where they've already been kind of getting their own little golf leagues. Like I've already been seeing, obviously they have the golf league they do, but on top of that, they started this whole esports, like Tiger Woods golf league. They have like tens of thousands of people that are playing in this. And I don't really know how they're monetizing on it yet, but to me, Penn is almost the better play because when you look at the market cap, it's just, I don't know. I mean, they're both good plays. I love Penn. I love DraftKings.
Yeah, I would hold them, but I mean, I'm in both of them long. I'm not touching. I'll just be adding to those positions on any pullbacks. I think they're both in the infancy of where gambling is not even scratched the surface. People just think of pro and college sports betting. There's way more coming, and that's why I love that as a startup in itself, that whole space, peer-to-peer. I think that's just having people with an app wanting to compete with each other. There are so many ways you can attack that.
I mean, speaking of the gambling, could you believe the run Penn's been on? It's at 96.50 right now. It's wild, right? The stock got to under $4 in March.
Yeah, that was something else. But there's a lot of names. I mean, you look at the 52-week lows of a lot of these stocks, you wouldn't believe it. I mean, take a look at NIO, for example. What's the 52-week low on NIO?
NIO's gone up about 2,000% this year. And, you know, you sit there and you ask yourself, okay, what's the next NIO? But the other way to look at it is a stock that's gone up 2,000%, is it ultimately going to go up like 2,800%? You know, like when you're up that much, it's like, what's going to stop this thing from going up another 1,000%? And that's kind of how I'm starting to look at it. Like, you look at stocks that have gone up 300% in the last year. When you kind of look back at the numbers of how high some of these stocks went up during whatever people are going to look back and call this, I wonder if we're, you know, in inning 3 here with some of this.
Yeah, but, you know, you got to realize when they do pull back, they could pull back 60% from where they are before starting up again. So you could get absolutely massacred thinking that these things only go up.
And that's why you got to be not only taking profits along the way, but like the selling call options does seem to be a pretty good strategy, because on the really down days when you sell call options, those options are up huge. And you also have a chance to cash out then and sometimes reopen it later in the day.
Yeah, I mean, I have these $50 calls for laser for January that are up huge, you know, that I'm very confident are going to hit.
How much is left on that? What are those trading at?
Tell you right now.
Yeah, I'm short those also. I think they're trading around $1.50.
$1.40.
Which is still an absurd premium considering where the stock is.
It's a joke.
Where are the Boeings trading at? Because I was seeing a couple days ago, it almost made sense to just roll those over because there was only like a couple $100.
I think they're trading around. Let me just say. Why not?
I got in and out of Boeing and Neo today for a nice buck.
Nice, dude. That's awesome.
The Boeing 250s were trading around 15. I think they're down about $2.
Yeah. So are you going to just let those expire, Dad?
Yeah. I mean, that's a meaningless at this point. 100 Boeing versus one. It's not enough to worry about, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the way to really play that would be cover the option and roll it out to the 230s, where you can probably pick up another 10 points or so.
What did we do them at?
The Boeing 250s, I think we did them at 15.
Oh, we did 250s. You're saying to roll them to 230. Yeah, they're trading at $3.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're that high.
That was a good move, though, selling those.
Yeah, so at this point, you can almost buy Boeing here. I don't feel uncomfortable owning Boeing at 220. I'd rather own it where it was yesterday at 210.
That's why I sold it today over 220.
Yeah, but if you bought the 220s and sold the 230s, you're probably going to pick up 10 points for January.
I could sell the 20s at Fisker and pick up an extra $1. The stock's only at 17 right now.
Yeah, that's like crazy. As long as you're okay owning Fisker if it goes down 2-3 points.
Yeah, well, at this point, I'm averaged way lower than it's at now. So I'm just looking for where I'm getting out. You go on Twitter, these Fisker loyalists think that Tim Cook's going to announce an acquisition this afternoon. There's no chance that's happening, but it's just funny seeing what people are saying about like the rumors of Apple
buying Elon Musk. I don't think he's buying Fisker.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Their Apple strategy is we'll just do this ourselves better. Like
Well,
that's
Apple never really made any big acquisitions.
they don't have to.
It's not their style.
No, they just build things that last and dominate.
But that's where like Fisker would not be that big of an acquisition when you think about it. And there is known evidence that Tim Cook and Apple's entire design team did meet with Fisker back 3 years ago to go over their design. And they love their design, and they've made it very public that they love their design. And maybe Tim Cook just wants a Fisker himself, but maybe they are looking at something. Like what people have been saying is, why not buy Fisker for the design element and you plug in your own technology into their cars? Even Kramer last night was saying Apple should buy Fisker. It was crazy when he said that. But, you know, there's definitely a lot of chit chatter about it, and the stock's up 10% today.
Well, I think that's why there's chit chatter about, oh, is Apple possibly buying this? I don't see it. For a design, I don't really see why what do they need Fisker for? They could do their own design.
I totally agree with you.
They're not buying them. That would be utterly shocking to me.
I could see maybe there being some sort of other partnership.
They should have bought Tesla 5 years ago, is the reality. Apple should have done that. And they didn't for who knows why. But the fact that they're rolling out an electric car in 2024, they made a mistake not rolling up Musk when he wanted to sell to them.
Only looking back, at the time, it might not have been a mistake.
It was a great move by them at the time. And why? For people that thought Musk was full of shit? That was clearly not the case.
No, it just isn't Apple's style to.
Yeah, but it's Elon Musk, Dad. There's exceptions to everything, and he is the exception.
Well, yeah, man, you know, SSPK has come down a lot since we started this show.
Maybe there's some way to listen and they sell everything we mentioned.
That would be getting them into a lot of trouble this year, that strategy.
Another one we didn't bring up, guys, I want to talk to you about is Otis, the largest elevator company. I'm starting to think this is a great hold for just exposure to Asia and, you know, with the growth in China going on. I think it's hard to overlook these guys. I'm curious, if you look at the chart, it's pretty damn impressive too.
What's the ticker, Mike?
OTIS.
Do you know the grandson was on my floor freshman year of college?
There we go. And Dad, it's Otis Anderson.
Bill Otis is the guy's name.
See? I like this symbol. I like everything they're doing. It flies under the radar, and they're the largest elevator company on the planet.
Is this like a new public company?
No.
Oh, my chart's just not updating. They didn't just go public in April?
They might have switched tickers. They definitely didn't just go public.
Sure, yeah.
I think there was a merger with something with them, but they do elevator and escalator manufacturing.
Chart looks interesting.
Very interesting. They do installation and service too, and they're the worldwide leader in it. And no one ever brings this company up. It came across my radar last night, and I started diving into it. I'm like, wow, this is something I want.
So they're buying calls in AT&T right now. See, this is cool. Like in the last few minutes, there's been like millions of dollars of premiums purchased in AT&T at 26 strike price.
I'm not a fan of AT&T.
For July. Kind of weird.
All right, well, we've been on here now 45 minutes. This is...
Well, yeah, we're just kind of shooting the show with each other, but yeah, we could end this.
Yeah, subscribe, Rolland, Mark, and Mashup. Thanks for tuning in, and happy holidays. We'll catch you after Christmas and your honey baked ham or whatever you're eating.
Happy holidays.